final keyword can be used in three ways. Final keyword can be used before a variable, final keyword can be used before a method, and final keyword can be used before a class. So if we use the final keyword before a variable, then the variable will become constant, and if we use the final variable before a method, then we can prevent method overriding. And in that case, when we use the final keyword before a class, we can prevent inheritance. So all the things we have seen in the previous session along with the examples, right? So now in today's session, we are going to see the keywords public, private, and protected keywords. So these three things are called as access specifiers, or we can call them as access modifiers. So among these three things, public is the first keyword in among the access specifiers, private, and then protected. And then default in the sense, when we don't define anything before the declaration of a variable or before the declaration of a method, then it will comes under this default access specifier, right? So when we define public int a, then a is an integer variable of public type. When we define private int a, then a is an integer variable of private type. When we simply define int a, that means if we don't use public, private, or protected keywords in front of int a, then it comes under the default access specifier, right? So let us see about all these three things and what will happen if we define a variable with public, or if we define a variable with private, or if we define a variable with protected keywords, or if we leave that variable without defining any public, private, or protected keywords. See here, if we define anything as public, right? If we define anything as public, so that variable or method can be accessed in the same class, right? That variable or method can be accessed in by the other classes inside the same package, and it can be accessed inside the subclass of the same package, and it can be accessed in the subclass of the outside package, and it can be accessed in the non subclasses of the outside package also. So if we define anything with the public keyword, it can be accessed in the same class, it can be accessed in the subclass, it can be accessed in the outside class, or it can be accessed in the class which is in the other package also, right? So let us see how we can define these keywords in the program, and let us see how this public keyword will behave. Right, so let us start the things with something called as class A. So inside class A, there is one method called as void m, right? And this method is going to print something called as Google on the output screen, right? So here, while declaration of this method, I don't use any keyword in front of void. So now this will comes under default access specifier, right? So if I use, for example, if I use public void m, then it comes under public access specifier. If I use private, then this method will be private, and if I use protected, this method will be protected, right? So if we don't use any keyword in front of the declaration of the method, then it will comes under default. Similarly, For the variables also, for example, I have declared integer a. Now, in front of this int a, there is no keyword such as public, private, or protected. Now, this int a comes under default access specifier. If I declare it as public, then it is a public variable. If I declare it as a private, then it is a private variable. And if I declare it as a protected, then it is a protected variable. If I don't use any public, private, or protected, then it comes under default access specifier. So let us discuss how a public keyword is useful in the program, how a private keyword will behave and protected keyword will behave. And if we don't define any public, private, or protected, how the method is going to be behave. Right. So if we declare it as public, it can be accessed in the same class, right? Same class, in the subclass, in the outside subclass, in the same package and different package. So if we define it as a public, it can be accessed everywhere in the program, or and at the same time it can be accessed in the outside package also. So let us write this one as public, right? So public void m. So here I am going to define one more class B, right? Class B. So in this class B also, I'm going to declare a method m1. Let us consider public void m1, and this method is going to print Gmail on the output screen. And then I'm going to declare class C, which consists of main method public static void main, and then string args. Inside the main method, I want to create an object of class B space obj equal to new B, right? B space obj equal to new B. And with that object, I am going to access the method m1, which was present in B. And at the same time, right, I want to create an object of for class A space obj1 equal to new A. And with this object, I am going to access the method m, which was present in class A. See here, see what I have done so far. I have written class A, which consists of method m, and then I have written class B, which consists of method m1, and I have written class C. In class C, I have written the main method of Java programming language. And inside class B, class C, I have created an object for class B, and the name of the object is obj. And at the same time, I have created one more object for class A, and the name of the object is obj1. So with these objects, with this obj, I am trying to access m1, and with this obj1, I am trying to access m. So keep one thing in your mind, both these methods m and m1 are declared as public, and main method is also public. So as I said earlier, if anything is public, it can be accessed in the same class, subclass, outside package, and derived class, etc. It can be accessed everywhere, right? So let us see the output of this code. I just compiled the code, and then running of the code. So if I run the code, you can see here, whenever we call obj.m1, it has printed Gmail on the output screen. Whenever we call obj.m, it has printed Google on the output screen, right? So we can say this m method is accessed, right? This m method is accessed inside class C, because it is declared as public. And at the same time, this m1 is also accessed inside class C, because it is also declared as public. So whenever we declare a thing as public, it can be accessed everywhere. Now let us change the things. Let us change the things. What happens, right? What happens if we declare a method as protected, right? So if we declare a method as protected, it can be accessed in the same class. It can be accessed in any other classes which belongs to the same package. It can be accessed in the subclass of the same package. It can be accessed in the subclass of the outside same package, right? So it cannot be accessed from a non-subclass outside of the package. So the complete meaning of this one is, if there is class A and if there is class B, if class B is achieving the properties of class A, then anything inside this class A which is under protected can be accessed here. Other than this one, it cannot be accessed in any other classes, right? So if anything is declared as protected, it will be accessed in the same class and subclass. Whether the subclass may belongs to the same package or different package, it will be accessed in the same class and subclass. So let us see it with an example. So instead of public, I am writing it as protected, and at the same time I am defining it as protected, right? So let us see the output of the code. Just compiling the code, and then I am running the code. So if I run the code, still I am getting the same output. So let us do some changes in order to better understand this protected keyword. So here there is one variable called as protected. There is one variable called as protected int something called as a equal to 100, protected a equal to 100. And here I want to print that variable a, and here also I want to print that value of a. So let us see what I have done so far. There is class A. Inside class A, there is one more variable called as a, which consists of value 100. And inside class A, I have a method m. And there exists one more class called as b. Inside b, I have all m1. Both this m is going to print the value of a on the output screen, and m1 is also going to print the value of a on the output screen. I have one more class C, which consists of main method. In this main method, I have created two objects, obj, and one more object is obj1. This obj is for class B, and obj1 is for class A. So with these two methods, I am going to access the method m1 and method m. With these two objects, I am going to access the method m and the method m1. So let us see what will happen when I compile the code. So if I compile the code, see here, I am getting an error at line number 13. I am getting an error at line number 13. The name of the error is cannot find the symbol. So the compiler is unable to find the symbol. So the compiler is unable to find which symbol. It is unable to find the symbol A at line number 13. So if you observe, it is line number 13. And in line number 13, I am trying to print A. So A, which means the compiler will check whether variable A is present in class B or not. So if you check, the variable A is not present in class B, and then compiler will search if there is a variable A with public keyword in other classes also. So there is no variable A with public keyword in other classes also. If you observe, there is variable A, right? There is variable A, but it was declared as protected. So when it was protected, it can be accessed in the same class. So class A can access variable A, and class B cannot access variable A because class B is not a subclass of class A. So as we studied earlier, if we declare a variable as protected, then it can be accessed in the same class and it can be accessed in the subclass. Other than that, it cannot be accessed anywhere. So B is not a subclass of class A. So if you make B as a subclass of class A, then we will not get this error at line number 13. So let us inherit class A into class B. So now what I have done is, there are two classes, class A and class B. Class B is achieving the properties of class A. So now anything which is public, anything which is protected can be accessed in class B. right, can be accessed in class B. So if we don't inherit, right, if we don't inherit the things, which means if we don't have this inheritance, then this protected cannot be accessed in class B, right? So if you want to declare a variable which can be accessed everywhere, then declare it as public. If you want your variable to be accessed only in the class and in the subclass, declare it as protected. Now save and compile the code. If I compile the code, now I don't get any error. If I run the code, it has printed the value of 100 and 100 because I have called this method m, so it was the result of method m, and then I have called method m1, it was the result of m1. Both the variables are trying to print the value of a, where the value of a is 100. So because it was declared as protected, it can be accessed in this class and it can be accessed in the subclass because B is a subclass of class A, right? Now let us see how this private keyword will behave. So if we declare anything as private, it can be accessed in the same class. It cannot be accessed anywhere else. We cannot access it in the subclass. We cannot access it in the outside class. We cannot access it in any other areas. We can only access it in the same class only, right? So let us see what will happen if I declare it as private. So if I declare as private, so it is showing an error that A has private access in A. So variable A is declared with the private access specifier. So it can be only used in class C. It cannot be used in other classes, right? So what we have to do here, we cannot access A. That's why we are going to print something called as some text. So if you do, it will be okay, because now we are not accessing the variable A inside class B. So it is private, so it can be printed here. It is private, it cannot be printed here, right? Now I think everyone is clear about these three keywords, right? Public, private, and protected. So let us see what will happen, right? What will happen in case if we don't declare anything in front of the variable or in front of the method. So if we don't declare this private keyword, then int A comes under default access specifier. Now this int A can be accessed in the same class, can be accessed in the subclass, can be accessed in any class which belongs to same package. I will explain about what is a package and what is a sub package, how the access specifiers will do with these packages in the future classes, right? In order to understand about the package and in order to understand how we can create our own packages, we need to go for a few more classes, right? Don't worry. So just remember these things. So if it is public, right? If it is public, it can be accessed everywhere, right? If it is public, it can be accessed everywhere. If it is private, it can be accessed in the same class and it cannot be accessed in anywhere else. And if it is something called as protected, it can be accessed in the same class and it can be accessed in the subclass. If it is default, it can be accessed everywhere in the same package, but it cannot be accessed in other packages, right? Keep all these things in mind. Public, it can be accessed everywhere. Private, it cannot be accessed everywhere. It can be accessed only in the class where it was declared. Protected, class and subclass. Default, within the same package. Outside the package, we cannot access anything which was default, right? So this is all about these access specifiers. Just a second. Right, just I got one doubt from the student. So what they asked is, if class C is inherited from class A. So if class C is inherited from class A, then we can access the variable A or not. So even if, let us see, system.out.println A, right? Let us see whether it will print the value of A or not. So here, before int A, we don't use any access specifier. That is, we don't use any public or private or protected. So when we don't use any public or private or protected, then it comes under default. So in case of default, it can be accessed in the same class. It can be accessed in any class from same package, and it can be accessed in the subclass in the same package. Now, if we don't declare anything in front of this one, now we can definitely access this variable A inside class C. Just a second. Okay. Sorry. Here we have to consider, the static and non-static context, because all this code comes under static context. But we don't bring this variable A into the RAM. So if you want to bring this variable A into the RAM, then create an object of variable A space obj equal to new A. Now, if we want to access variable A, instead of accessing it directly, just use obj.a. See here what we have done. There is class A, and inside class A we have a variable A which is having the value of 100, and there is one method called as m, and there is one more class B which is having the method m1, where B is inherited from A, and at the same time we have one more class C, where C is also inherited from A, and C contains the main method in Java, and inside the main method we have created an object for class A, and the name of the object is obj, and then we are going to access the variable A. So let us see what will happen clearly. Here, the compiler will start executing the main method, right? The compiler will start its execution from here. Whenever it encounters the static keyword, it will create some space in RAM, and it is called as context of the class, right? It is called as context of the class. In that context, we will have these two statements. Let us consider line number 1 and line number 2 inside the main method. So line number 1 will start executing. Whenever the line number 1 starts executing, here what we have done, we have created an object called as obj for class A by using new keyword. Whenever the compiler encounters the new keyword, automatically it creates one more memory, and the name of the memory will be obj, because we have written, right? Because we have written obj here. So with the name of obj, some amount of memory will be created, right? In that memory, what is going to be happen in the sense, here this obj memory was for class A. So the non-statical variables and non-statical methods of class A will be kept inside this obj. So inside the obj, we are going to have variable A and method m. So finally, there is one context of a class and one instance of a class. The instance of a class name is obj, and inside obj I have a variable A which is storing the value of 100. Right, I have a variable A which is storing the value of 100, and then I have a method m, and inside I have two statements, A space obj equal to new A and system.out.println A. Now, if I use system.out.println of A, even though I will get a compile time error, because we cannot find A directly in the RAM. See here, we cannot find the A directly in the RAM. But if you write obj.a, now we don't get any errors. So we have got the output of that obj.a, because the variable A lies in obj space. So we have to access with the space name followed by variable name. So if we declare it as public, if I declare it as public, then also we will definitely get the output of this code. See here. And if we declare it as protected also, we will get the output, because in protected, we can access the members of the same class and the subclass. And what happens if we declare it as private? So if we declare it as private, then we cannot access variable A. You can see here there is an error at line number 21. Here it is, the line number 21. Line number 21, we are trying to access the variable A. So if we want to access the variable A, where the variable A was declared as private. So when we declare it as private, we can access it only the same class. We cannot access it in any other class or in any other packages, right? So this is all about these public, private, and protected keywords, right? Next one, right? So see here. So the people, the children whose age is generally less than 5 or 6, generally they will be kept inside a room, and they will maximum we will not allow them to go outside. And the people who are having the age of something called as 8 to 15 or 8 to 20, they will be allowed to come out of the room, and they will be kept inside the premises of our home. But the people who are having the age more than 16 or more than 20, they will be allowed freely to turn in and around the world. So here the things which will be kept inside the room, which means it is a class, right? It is a class, or it is a room of our house. So the things can be accessed here is only the private members. So private members will be accessed in the same class. It cannot be accessed in the subclasses, or it cannot be accessed in the outside world. So if we declare anything as protected, so he can go into the class, or he can go into the room, or he can play outside of this room. But he is not allowed to go outside of the world, right? And then if it is public, he can be accessed in the class, right? He can be accessed in the class, he can be accessed in the subclass, or he can be accessed everywhere, right? Next one, the last one, super keyword, right? We all are very familiar with the super keyword while we are discussing about the constructors, right? So while we are discussing about constructors, we have seen about the third usage of super keyword, right? So similarly, there are 3 uses for this super keyword. If we want to access the superclass variable, if we want to access the superclass method, if we want to access the superclass constructor, then we go for super keyword. If we want to access the same class variable, if we want to access the same class methods, if we want to access the same class constructor, we have seen a keyword called as this keyword. So if we want to access any of these 3 things, that is same class variable, same class methods, and same class constructors, we go for this keyword. Similarly, if we want to access the parent class variables, parent class method, that means a superclass variables, superclass methods, and superclass constructors, we go for this super keyword. So let us see how we can access the superclass variables, superclass methods, and superclass constructors by using super keyword. So here I have a variable called as int a, and I have a method called as void m, right? And here also I have a method called as void m, which means method overriding. And here I have taken class C, right? So I'm going to create an object for class B, where obj dot something called as m, right? See here. See what I have done here. I have 2 classes, class A and class B, where class A is inherited into class B. So here I don't want to use this variable. I will explain it later. Let us see. It will print something called as a Gmail on the output screen. So in class A, I have a method m. In class B also I have a method m, and I have a class C, which contains main method. Inside class C, I have created an object called as obj for class B, and with this obj, I am trying to access method m. So this method m is going to print Gmail and this method m is going to print Google. So whenever I try to access the method m with the object of class B, then Google will be printed on the output screen. See here, Google is printed on the output screen. From this method, if I want to access, right, from this method, if I want to access the method m which was present in the superclass of class A, sorry, class B, the superclass of class B is class A. If I want to access the method m which was present in class A, then I can simply give super.m. So if I give super.m, so it is going to execute both the methods. It is going to execute the method m which was present in class A and the method m which was present in class B also, right? So let us see what will happen if we use the super keyword as a second statement inside the method. It is okay, because only the constructors, see, only in case of constructors only we have to use super keyword as a first statement, or this keyword as a first statement. Other than constructors, we can use super keyword or this keyword anywhere else inside the methods. So if you use super.m here, then the first line of output will be Google and the second line of output will be Gmail, right? And if we use super.m as the first keyword, then first line will be Gmail and second line will be Google. So see here, the output of this code will be Google and Gmail, because whenever obj.m is called, Google will be printed on the screen. After printing the Google, we have called the super.m. So the m method which was present in the super class, that is class A, will get executed and it will print Gmail, right? So when we interchange these two statements, for example, when we interchange this with when we call the super.m first, then this method will start executing. Whenever it starts executing, it will call the superclass m method. After the superclass m method was executed, and then it will print the Google on the output screen. So let us see what will be the output in case we use the super keyword.m as a first statement inside the method m of class B. See here, first it has printed Gmail and then Google, right? So this is how this super keyword is used in order to access the method of the immediate parent class. It is the second usage I have explained here. So the time is running away. So in the next class, I'm going to explain about how we can access the superclass instance variables by using the super keyword. And along with that, I am going to explain this how we can refer the superclass method by using the super keyword. After that, we can concentrate on the constructors. Already we have seen this topic. Again, I am going to refer both this one. I am going to refer 2 and 3 again, right? So after referring these two, I will explain how we can access the superclass instance variables, right? So I hope everyone got understand this class and grab some knowledge regarding this class. So if you have any doubts regarding today's session, right? If you have any doubts regarding today's session, you can post the comments in the comment box of this video, or you can text me. So we will meet in the next class. So I really thank each and every listener of this video for being here.